We have some new economic numbers that were just released. Employers hired the fewest workers in nearly 3 years in the month of December. Non-farm payrolls grew by only 74,000 jobs last month, but the unemployment rate dropped to 6.7%, the lowest figure since October 2008. Now, most news outlets are saying keep a gigantic asterisk next to that fact, that it's the lowest unemployment rate since 2008, because the reason it is because a lot of people just simply dropped out of the workforce and they're not looking for work anymore. So the unemployment rate is actually totally misleading, and the better number to go by is the number of jobs that we gained. 74,000 is less than expected, and it's really not that good. Now, I mean, it goes without saying that this is still better than when George W. Bush was in office and we were doing tremendous amounts of deregulation and continually cutting taxes for the rich, which led to the problem. But there is a way out of this mess, which isn't even being discussed for multiple reasons. I mean, the Democrats aren't real progressives. I wish they were, but they're not. The Republicans are just a joke. I mean, there's a good argument to be made that they're actually sabotaging the economy. They want it to get worse so that come the next presidential election, they blame it all on Obama and say, vote for us, we'll do better than he did. But the actual policy solutions to get out of this is not something that a lot of people in the media talk about, not something a lot of people anywhere are talking about. But there's a few ideas that, I mean, in all seriousness, would be like overnight fixes. Well, maybe that's a little too strong. If you implement the ideas overnight, it would start the ball rolling, and over the course of a month or maybe a year, I mean, it would be all systems go, and the economy would be booming again. So what I'm talking about, here's the first proposal that came to mind. How about actually doing a New Deal? Now, I'm talking about investing billions of dollars into making our infrastructure the number one infrastructure in the world. I mean, that's not even in the conversation. Nobody even brings this up. Nobody's ever really thought about it. But why not? I mean, if the American people like to think that we're number one in every aspect when we're not, why not actually try to be number one in something? Why not try to be number one in infrastructure? And I mean, think about how much better life would be if we had the number one infrastructure in the world. We wouldn't really have to worry much about, hey, the electricity went out because the power lines went down, among many other things. So what we should do is build high-speed rail. We should build new bridges. I mean, I think back to that documentary that was released, what was it? It had to be in 2008 or something like that. It's called The Crumbling of America. It was on, I think, the History Channel or the Discovery Channel. And they talked about how we have so few bridge inspectors in the United States that there are thousands of bridges in some states that just flat out don't get inspected, and they're falling apart. So why not rebuild, all these bridges, rebuild some dams, upgrade the water pipes? I mean, the electric grid in the U.S. is pathetic. It's not even like a first world electric grid. Why not hire teams to just simply clean up communities that need to be cleaned up and revitalize them? And, that would create plenty of jobs. I mean, there's so many towns and cities in America where there's graffiti all over the place and it doesn't seem like it's in tip-top shape. We can have people go in there and make it look immaculate. And all it would take is just a fresh coat of paint and a group of people to consistently clean up the litter and do some repairs to streetlights and stuff like that. These are all things that would put people to work. This is all, a real-world solution. Why not invest a tremendous amount of money to actually bring new green technology jobs to the U.S.? I know the Republicans are always going to scream about Solyndra and, oh my God, it was a big failure, and why are we investing in this? We're investing in it to save the fucking planet. That might sound like hyperbole, but it's really not, because when you look at global warming and when you look at fossil fuels contributing to it, we can't stay on this stuff all that much longer. So why not be the country that comes up with all of the great new inventions that the entire world is going to need to use, and then we reap the profit when they need to buy it from us because we're ahead of the game? I mean, these are all things that it would be so easy to do if we actually just gave a fuck and we invested in these things. Now, that's step number one, do the New Deal. But we got even more steps that I think make a hell of a lot of sense. Now, this one is super important. We should eliminate student loan debt. I mean, if you eliminate student loan debt and you universalize education through college, that frees up so much capital. And that makes it so that all these young people who don't have any money to spend, now they have money to spend, and consumer spending will rise tremendously, which of course will revitalize the economy. But we have this scam going on right now where the government's making its cut and the banks are making their cut, and it's all a scam. People get a sheet of paper at the end of 4 years that really doesn't help them all that much more than if they didn't have the sheet of paper. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I still think you should go to college because the statistics show you do better if you go to college, but it's not like such a tremendous difference that it's worth the $80,000, $150,000 that people end up having to spend in order to go. So we should universalize college. That would be a tremendous economic boost. And then, there's so many more steps I could give, but I'll try to keep it as short as I can here. And this one, some people might find silly, and they might think, well, how can you really think that helps the economy? But it does, believe you me. We should legalize drugs. Or at the very least, you legalize marijuana at the federal level, and you decriminalize the rest of the drugs. And this would be a win in so many different ways. I mean, think about the fact that if we did this, there would be multiple new industries that just pop up overnight. I mean, that's how many more businesses just start existing? How many more people have jobs because of those businesses? You need people to supply the shops, to work at the shops, to own the shops. You'll get wealth moving more around in the economy. I mean, you have to realize this increases government revenue. You could also cut government spending in other areas because you don't have to worry about, funding the criminal justice system to pack away all these nonviolent drug offenders. I mean, it's wins all around, and it would be such a boost. And this isn't just anecdotal. This isn't just my opinion here. Look at what's going on in Colorado right now. We went over the estimates the other day. I gave you the hard numbers about how much it's helping the economy there and how much it's going to help the economy. And then the final point I'll make here, but I can keep going on, giving idea after idea, because there's so many things we could do in order to really get the economy going and really make America strong again. But how do you fund all this? Some people might ask that question, and that's a fair question. Well, you cut military spending by at least 50%. And realize, because of the boost in the economy in other areas, it's not like all those people are going to be unemployed. They're going to come back home to a place where jobs are waiting for them. And these jobs won't involve actually killing innocent people overseas or making bombs that we're going to drop in the middle of a place where we shouldn't be anyway.